Hey there, this is Jennie Potter, and welcome to the second season of Self-Sabotage No More, inspired by my newest book, Stuck No More. This season is all about helping you break the loop of being where you don't want to be, of breaking free from the cycle of saying, I'll do it tomorrow, only tomorrow never comes. If you're tired of feeling stuck, constantly putting off your goals, and ready to take real action towards the life you want, this podcast is for you. We'll explore practical strategies to overcome whatever loop you are stuck in and finally start achieving what you've been longing for. For more tools and resources like how-to videos and worksheets related to my books and this podcast, visit jenniepotter.com. Before we get started, I want to make sure you know I'm not trying to diagnose or cure any kind of emotional, physical, or psychological illness. If you feel like you're a danger to yourself or others, please seek help from a qualified professional. All right, let's jump in and continue along the journey to Stuck No More. Aligning to the miraculous with your vibe. Okay. We're going to talk about resonance. We're going to talk about that goosebumpy feeling you get when you just know something is right, whether it's your partner, your friend, the first time seeing something, hearing something, reading something, learning something. When something resonates with your whole being, a prayer, an answer to prayer, a place, this is something that we each feel in our own way. And it's important that we move towards having resonance with our dreams. Some people are dreaming for things that they don't feel are possible for them. And we have to shift that resonance so that they can be in alignment with their dreams. And so that's what affirmations are all about, is helping you shift into a mutual vibration with your dreams. Everything has a vibration. The desk I'm sitting at, me, you, music, birds, grass, everything. It's something that the spiritual community and the scientists can agree on. Everything is made up of a vibration. Everything has its own unique vibration. When I wrote Self-Sabotage No More, I wanted to call it Recalibrate or Recalibrate Your Life. Like, that was, for me, the dream title. That's what the whole book was about. And my mentor at the time, Ray Higdon, he said, do people know what recalibrate means? Do they know they need to recalibrate? And of course, the answer was no. Most people don't know they need to recalibrate. And so it's not a great book title, though great for me for a book title. I'd buy that book in a heartbeat. But self-sabotage fit better because people know that they self-sabotage and they don't know why they do it. Speaking of Ray, when he told me that it was time to write my book, I got that goosebumpy feeling. He didn't even know I wanted to write a book. And he said, Jennie, I had a dream. It's time for you to write your book. It's time for you to share your gifts with others. And I had that feeling all over. Then he connected me with publishers, friends of his who had published a couple of his books. And as soon as I met them, I was in alignment with them. I felt that resonance. I knew that they got me. They got excited. I got excited. And it was like this perfect blueprint, this perfect connection. And I felt it. When you feel it in your heart and your soul, when you're in alignment with it, it just happens more quickly and with more ease. And so we're working towards that goosebumpy feeling with our affirmations. Have you ever decided to do something and everybody around you calls you crazy? Like, I don't know, maybe you decide you're going to run a marathon, or you're going to fast for 5 days, or you're going to start a new fad diet, or you're going to read a book a day, or do the 75 hard, or maybe join a company, work from home, start a new company. You know, the options are really endless here, but you started something or started working on yourself in a way that caused a reaction in the people around you. They thought you were crazy. They didn't understand why you were showing up differently. A lot of people will say to people who have gone through my coaching or read my book or gone to a personal growth conference or, gone to a weekend with Tony Robbins or, someone who's had an experience where they're growing, they'll come home and their friends will say, "You've changed, you're different." And it's almost accusatory. People like to vibrate at the same level as you. And you attract people into your life at that vibration. So when you go out personal growth seeking and shift your vibration, other people notice. The people around you that are used to being around your energy and the way you show up notice that you're different. It's kind of like you were both lukewarm, and now one of you is lukewarm and one of you is hot. I'm not going to say who. But sometimes when we experience personal growth, we can experience an uncomfortable shift in frequency. You're literally resonating with new ideas, new opportunities, new wisdom, new clarity, new connection with God, new understanding. You have changed. And when you connect with your soul's purpose, it can be exhilarating. You can feel that resonance. It can also be exhausting. It can also be exhausting because all of a sudden you're pushing through old energy. You're pushing through stuck energy. Most of us were stuck in a long place for a long time before we shift into a new space. And so I love the fact that a caterpillar has to basically liquefy before it becomes the butterfly. And then when it becomes the butterfly, to get out of the cocoon, it has to wriggle and just like crazy struggle, okay? And that wriggling releases enzymes, which then is mandatory enzymes, by the way. If you cut that caterpillar out of its cocoon, it would never be able to fly. So those enzymes are released, and then it has to sit and wait for its wings to dry. Isn't that insane? All that transformation and patience is still required for the next stage of the game, for the flight, okay? And so you're going to have people in your life that are still caterpillars. And some of those people want to be butterflies too. Some of those people might be jealous that you're already a butterfly. Some of those people just want you to stay a caterpillar. Some of those people don't want you to fly from branch to branch to branch. But does it make sense for you to not fly because the people around you don't yet have their wings? If you were to look in nature and see a butterfly crawling around and never flying because the caterpillars around it hadn't yet had their wings, would that make any sense at all? So protect your frequency. Like when you start doing growth things, when you start shifting, when you get unstuck, when you're stuck no more, when you're sabotaging no more, it's good for you to start noticing whose vibe you like, whose vibe you're attracted to. What books are you listening to? What books are you buying? What personal growth stuff are you attracted to? What do you want to do? What friends are you wanting to surround yourself with? There's been times in my life where I literally just surrounded myself with YouTube trainers because I just didn't feel like I fit anywhere with people that I knew. And of course, that has shifted back into balance. And some people have come back into my life and some people just never came back. And that's okay. We are here to grow. We are here to grow our wings and experience transformation. And your very divine mission might be around your transformation and your growth and your shift. So it's not your responsibility to make others feel okay about their lack of personal growth. Okay, your responsibility is to fly. And so one of the sticking points or things that kind of get in the way of our growth is when we're not actually sure what we resonate with. Okay, if you feel unsure with what you resonate with, you feel like there's something more, but you don't know what that is, where do you start? And so you can start with writing down answers to the following questions, and I'll make sure to have these in the show notes. But these questions can be super powerful. What would I like to resonate with? Who would I like to resonate the same as? Who do I look up to? Whose vibe do I love? What people, places, experiences, and goals call to me? If I was resonating in a perfect vibe, what would that feel like? Would you feel peaceful? Would you feel joyful? Would you feel excited, pumped, motivated? Are you like resonating with like hardcore optimism, or do you want to just wake up and feel at peace? Find examples online, write down everything from swimming with dolphins to hiking somewhere to travel to spending time in your little nook to writing to whatever it is. Write down, cut out pictures of, print out pictures. There's so much cool stuff you can do online now, but find things that you resonate with, that you're drawn to, okay? Make a collage.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Just a quick note. I want to take a moment to let you know that I have additional free resources and links to my Facebook community available on my website at jenniepotter.com. Now let's get back to getting unstuck and creating the life you're dreaming of.
There was a time in my life where I was surrounded by people who drank and did drugs and smoked and partied, and really our whole social experience was about those things. Like, it was always about food and drinking. Where are we going to, drink? Where are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? What are we going to drink? And it was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it was super sabotaging. It was not helping me grow. And as I started to shift and change, I noticed that it was uncomfortable for me to spend time in that environment. And I went through this period where I was really sick and I kept losing weight. I was super skinny. I'd wake up at like 8 a.m. and by 10 I'd be exhausted and wanted to go back to bed. I was really, really not doing great. I would eat a salad and the salad would literally go right through me, like it didn't digest. And I just knew that something was very, very wrong. And so I decided to basically cut out all sugar, all alcohol, and just focus on veggies. I pretty much lived on avocado and vegetarian chili because I wasn't that great in the kitchen and I couldn't have bread and I couldn't have, I just cut out all the stuff that I thought might be not good for me. And I just ate like veggies and beans, basically. And this was just a very good time for me to get more clear and more clarity on how it felt to not party. And so I would go to these parties and everyone would go, come on, just drink tonight. Because I was a lot of fun. And I actually started bringing, when I went, I would bring a bottle of vodka that had water in it and pretend to drink because it was so uncomfortable for me to tell my friend group that I wasn't drinking. I mean, now that's shocking to me. Like, even for me to say that out loud, I just think, man, I was at a place in my life where I couldn't confidently and comfortably speak my truth. It was easier for me to pretend to drink than it was for me to say, no, really, I'm good. I don't need to drink. But the other thing happened, which was interesting, was I stopped, like, I started being like, that wasn't that fun. And they're not as funny as I thought they were. And I would get up early and I would leave and I would go home and I would think to myself, I might not do that for a while. Like, I don't need to do that again. And I just started to fade away from that friend group. And actually, the biggest epiphany for me during that time was I was driving home from work. It was about 4 or 5 months into not drinking and eating pretty healthy. And I had this joyful moment where I felt really, really good. Okay. I was resonating at joy. And as soon as I started feeling that joy, I had the automatic thought, I should get wasted tonight. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I didn't miss drinking. Like, when I decided not to drink, I just stopped drinking. I only drank socially and I was pretty quiet, living in a farmhouse. I literally learned how to play the harmonica at that time and not well. I learned like one song, but I just had this quiet time, right? And so I had this thought, and that was like the craziest epiphany for me was, oh my gosh, I don't drink when I'm unhappy. I mean, I did used to drink when I was unhappy, but I'm uncomfortable with my own joy. I was not resonating with joy. I was so uncomfortable with feeling healthy and energetic and joyful that I actually had a resistant reaction to it where I wanted to push myself down by getting wasted. So, if you're going through a growth experience and you have friends in your life that don't understand or are frustrated or miss the old you, just have empathy for them. They haven't changed. You've changed. You might feel like they've changed because you're seeing them with new eyes, but they haven't changed. They might never change. They may change with you along the way somewhere. But for now, just keep on the journey. If you've ever heard of crabs in a bucket, where you're standing on the edge of a bucket as a crab and you can see the whole ocean out there, and you're like, oh my gosh, we've been in a bucket. There's this whole ocean out there. This is incredible. And you look back down to tell the other crabs, like, there's a whole ocean out here, and you get pulled back down into the bucket when you try and pull the crab up to the edge to have a look with you. Just go explore the ocean. Okay. You can always offer an invitation, but go explore the ocean. Don't clip your wings. Don't stop exploring. Don't stop flying because the other caterpillars can't fly. Don't don't stay in the bucket because the other crabs got comfortable being uncomfortable in the bucket. Okay. So when you are worried about or impacted by what other people think, I would definitely encourage you to put those feelings in the magnetic balloon. Use the magnetic balloon method, and you can go to jenniepotter.com and download that for free if you need it. There's videos and all the things. But if you are feeling judged or worried by what others think that about your decision, or a decision you want to make, or a move you want to take, or something you want to do, start writing down on a piece of paper exactly who you are worried about. Okay. Because sometimes it feels like we're worried about everyone's judgment and actually nobody really cares. Sometimes it's that one judgy judgerson that's in your group that you're like, so like, oh my gosh, Susan's going to be like, what's she doing? Or whatever, right? So write down the people and then really ask yourself, do you want to spend your life making cranky Susan happy that you're not exploring, or avoiding cranky Susan's judgment and not living your dreams? Or do you want to live your dreams and start meeting and attracting people that are cheering for you? I feel so incredibly blessed. I have so many people cheering for me. I have people that I reach out to when I have a win, and I have people that are in my life that I love dearly, but I would never reach out to when I had a win. Be discerning about who you share what with. I think there's a biblical scripture that says, don't cast your pearls at swine. This is that, okay? When you have gold in your hand, when you're excited about something, when you feel like you have a gift to give the world, be discerning on who and how you share it, okay? Be careful, protect yourself, protect your pearls. So use the balloon method, release all that judgy Judgerson stuff into the balloon. If you're judging yourself, you might be your biggest critic. Write it all down and get it into the balloon, list it out, okay? If you want to list out the people that support you, you can do that too. Okay, who in your life, you might have one person. I'll tell you that when I ask people this question, they usually have one or two go-to people. There's a few people that have more. Some people have none. So just make sure that whoever you're sharing your news with, your dreams with, they're going to help you hold up, lift, and support your dreams, or at least they're going to hold the space for you. Don't share it with someone who's going to squish it, okay? So we interrupt this broadcast for a special announcement, all right? We interrupt this program for a special broadcast. That when that message comes across in the movies when there's like a zombie apocalypse and it's like beep 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 beep, we interrupt this. This is what I want to do right now, is talk to you about what you are broadcasting. Play a game with me for a moment. So every single one of us is broadcasting something. That's undeniable. We're all broadcasting something. Some of us are broadcasting joy, peace, abundance, love, excitement, okay, new ideas. Some of us are broadcasting sadness, drama, sickness, unhappiness, scarcity, depression, anger, irritation. So think of a friend, any friend, okay? Just think of a friend and then ask yourself, what does that person broadcast? All right? Do they broadcast encouragement, support, love? Do they broadcast happy? Do they broadcast broke? Do you have the friend that's always broke and always speaking out that they're broke? Do you have the friend that's always lucky and always speaking out that they're lucky? People are constantly broadcasting and telling you and telling the world who they are and what they want more of. Whatever you're broadcasting, you are drawing into your life. So now take a moment and ask yourself, what am I broadcasting that I don't want? Are you broadcasting that nothing ever works out for you, or you never finish a project, or sadness, irritation, guilt? What are you broadcasting? What are the main underlying messages? When you meet someone new, how do you describe yourself? How would they describe you after one meeting? Are you broadcasting stress, busy, never enough time? Are you broadcasting whatever it is? You know what you're broadcasting. And if you don't, ask the 3 closest people to you. So this is you, emergency broadcast. You are broadcasting constantly. This is you, this is them, this is everybody. And a lot of people are broadcasting the same repeat message over and over and over and over and over and over. Stuck. stuck. My book, the latest book, Stuck No More, this is about releasing being stuck and shifting into a new vibration, a new resonance. Instead of broadcasting the old message, what's the message you want to start broadcasting? So a good way to know your vibration or what you're broadcasting is to notice, what do you listen to when you're driving? What do you listen to? Are you listening to personal growth? Are you listening to happy music, sad music, bad music, angry music? What are you listening to on a daily basis? What are your posts like? Do you have that friend who's posting F cancer, or the friend who's posting miracles happen every day? And when you see a post like miracles happen every day, are you thinking, yes, they do? Or are you thinking, yeah, maybe for you? What are you broadcasting? Because I firmly believe that each and every one of us has a mission. And part of our mission is to fine tune that broadcast so that we can step into alignment, into flow, and resonate with our mission. So I remember a time where I had that moment of resonance when I realized I wanted to be a speaker. I realized with every bone in my body, it was an announcement in the company announcement who was speaking at the upcoming convention. And I'll just tell you that when I read it, I felt sick to my stomach. And even though there was no reason that I should be, there was no reason that I should be speaking at convention, I still felt like, oh my gosh, I want to be on that stage. I should be on that stage. Like, why am I not on that stage? And it was the weirdest thing. And I told my husband, honey, I don't know what's going on with me right now, but I feel like I was supposed to speak at the convention. And he said, well, you always say you can manifest anything. Why don't you manifest that? I was like, well, the only way that I could speak at convention is if I win promoter of the year. And promoter of the year or promoter of the year runner up. Okay. And so I decided I am running for promoter of the year. Like that's it. It's done. I wrote a speech, and every single morning I would get up and I would speak that speech to the mirror. Okay. So I just want to step back a moment, because that speaking to the mirror was my first step in affirming what I wanted. And I know I've shared that whole story with you before in earlier episodes about how every single day I spoke, and then I didn't get the award, and then I ended up getting promoted of the year in a different company. But that's where it started, was that moment where I had that resonance that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was meant to be on stage. And right after my husband said, well, why don't you manifest it? I had like a bunch of things all aligned. Okay. So I had a distributor who I'd never met in person, who was down in Birmingham, Alabama, kind of near to Nashville, Tennessee. And she had asked me if I was ever want to come down and do a presentation for her and her team of real estate agents. And so I saw that there was an event, a company event, a smaller than the convention, a company event happening in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I reached out to the distributor. We organized me coming down around the same time as the event. And I went down. I rocked my presentation. I did an awesome job. There was 23 people at the presentation, and 22 bought packages that day on the spot. And I broke a company record. I didn't know I broke a company record, but I broke a company record. And so then I got on a Greyhound, which is a whole other story. I'll just tell you, it was very scary. And I didn't understand what the announcers were saying or anything, because the accent was so strong, of the Southern accent. But anyway, I got to Nashville, Tennessee, and I was kind of nervous. And back then I sweated around anything, like the experience that was out of the usual. I was sweating. And so I'm heading to my hotel room and I bump into the company owner, the owner of the company that I was going to the event the next day with. And the owner of the company that was having the convention that I was like crushed that I wasn't speaking. And so I ran into him and he says my name, Jennie Potter. He says, "Can I take you for dinner and ask you how you broke a company record by selling 22 packages on the spot?" And so I was like, "Sure, oh my gosh, yes." And I was like so excited. And we go for dinner and he says he's picking my brain. And we realized that I'd sort of accidentally created urgency by offering if you buy now, I'll give you this book. Cause I had these extra books. I had these extra books for real estate agents that I bought a whole whack of and I had them in my suitcase. And so I thought I would just give them away. But at the way I worded it, I basically said, if you sign up now, you'll get this book. So we kind of laughed about it because I realized I hadn't really done it on purpose, but it worked really well. And then he all of a sudden got super serious and he looks me in the eye and he says, "Jennie, what do you want for your life? Like, what do you really want?" And I looked at him and I said, "I want to speak at convention." Which is like so embarrassing for me to say out loud. And I went bright red and like probably sweat through my clothes in that moment because I couldn't believe I just said it to the company owner who decides who speaks on stage, right? Back then, I wasn't like in the habit of asking for what I wanted. I was like more of a blurter. So I blurted, "I want to speak at the convention." And he looked at me and he said, "You know what? I want you to speak tomorrow." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I'm going to give you 15 minutes on stage tomorrow." Okay, now just so you know, it was like 9:30 at night. Normally I'm in bed by like 8:30. I am normally quite prepared. So, I share that story that I practiced every single day in the mirror, my firekeeper speech. Well, that was not yet practiced. And there was no way that was going to be what I spoke on stage. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess I better go to bed. So I went to bed and I decided I'm just going to pray about it, sleep on it. And when I wake up, God's going to give me the words. So that's very out of character. Normally, I would have stayed up all night writing, pacing, memorizing, but I just was so tired. I had stepped out of my comfort zone so much in the last 72 hours that I needed to sleep. So I lay down. I woke up in the morning with what I now call my I am speech. I started it. I started this whole podcast sharing with you, standing in front of the mirror, not being able to look myself in the eye. And that was the morning that that speech was born. And I went and I did my 15 minutes in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Grand Ole Opry Hotel or something like that, this incredible hotel. And I got to do my 15 minutes on stage. And it was so incredible. It was just one of those moments where I knew I resonated with being on that stage. I resonated with sharing my story with others. I resonated with changing lives. People came up to me over and over after I spoke, sharing their own stories, sharing how I'd inspired them to shift or to change or to grow. And I knew I was in the right place and I knew I was doing the right thing. This is resonance. So I just want to encourage you, if you don't know what you resonate with, or you do know what you resonate with, get clear on that. Get clear on that. And when you're doing your affirmations, ask yourself, am I resonating with this? Am I not resonating with it because I believe something that's untrue about myself? Like I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not successful, I'm not meant to succeed? Or am I not resonating with this because this isn't really what my heart desires? Okay. And so we resonate with what we are meant to be because we already are. You were born with gifts, with light, with a mission, and you are here for a purpose. And you will resonate with that purpose, and it will draw you closer to it. And so with that, I hope you have an amazing day. Looking forward to seeing you in the next episode where we talk about co-creating with God. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Stuck No More with Jennie Potter. If you enjoyed this episode, please comment, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps others find the show so they can get unstuck too. And don't forget, you can find my books, Self-Sabotage No More and Stuck No More, on Amazon, Audible, and the other book platforms. Thanks again for listening, and bye for now.